Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the 6 Podcast. I'm your host, Walker,
Jordan, let's go. I'm hype.
and we're going to be talking about a little college football, little NFL. Jordan, let's kick us off. No pun intended.
All right. We're just going to start this off. Game day was here. UGA gets the dub 30-13. First off, I want to touch on this. So UGA, what were we like 20-something point favorites in that game? In Kentucky, the last play of the game scores and covers. Mark Stoops called a timeout right before that, so they get one last play to score in the end zone. What do we think about that, first of all, before we talk about like the actual game?
I mean, it is what it is. I feel like if you're on the other side, you kind of got to think, I don't know. You're always fighting till the end, even if there was no chance of them winning. I mean, it's better than them just forfeiting, I guess. But yeah, it was kind of a little bit of a low blow. I'm not gonna lie, and I feel like we got payback as far as the morality of it by blocking the extra point immediately after, saying like, absolutely not, that doesn't fly with us. So
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous.
it is what it is.
Take your L. Why are you burning timeouts? It's just like the Auburn crap the week before where they were calling timeouts. Like, just stop. Just end the game. Take your L. If you want to go and throw the ball and whatever, fine. But just take your L. Don't call timeouts. Mark Stoops, you've lost my respect. And you made David, former guest star of the show, lose his house. Congratulations.
R.I.P.
But the game itself, UGA's defense is really, really good.
Yeah.
Let's just put that out. Jalen Carter with a beast. Quay Walker, cut that shit up, Quay. Fantastic. I don't even feel like we played that great, to be honest. And we still kind of dominate them, just like in general. Right?
I agree completely. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think I maybe even said on the last podcast, I thought, my score prediction was 31-10. So I thought we were pretty close to that.
Yeah, I think I said 35-7.
I feel like everything went about how I expected it to go. I mean, it could have been worse, honestly, but it could have been better. So I liked what I saw. I still think Georgia's the best team in the country, and I don't know, not backing
Yeah.
down from that.
Yeah, Stetson was brilliant again. Brock Bowers, my goodness. He's a monster. Him and Darnell, too. Darnell's getting healthy. He hurdled that one guy, which was crazy. Hopefully, just stay healthy. We finally made it to the bye week, so let's get healthy. But Kendall Milton got hurt today. Going to miss a couple games, but we're looking good. That's all I got to say. So, not too much to talk about there, but I want to move on to this. A little bit of a surprise. I'm done with Texas, by the way. I picked them again to beat Oklahoma State, and they failed me. Oklahoma State, a great win against Texas on the road. Basically, I want to ask, are they for real? Or are they just a good team that's just undefeated at this point?
If you had to ask me, I would say the latter. I think they're a good team that hasn't lost yet. I don't think they're amazing or anything, but I mean, like, that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you just, you get a hot run and you run the table with it. But I guess we'll never know until they, I guess, play some real competition, right? But I
Yeah.
don't know if they will. I mean, who's to judge what real competition is? Is it Oklahoma right now? Because they haven't lost either, and I could honestly say the same thing about them. So
Yeah. I still think it's a wait and see thing. They finally got a really good win against Texas on the road. Texas choked again, by the way. They were up big and they choked again. So they suck, but still a great win. I want to see them against Iowa State. They got to go on the road against Iowa State. I think that's a big game. And then maybe from there we can see if they can compete with Oklahoma. Speaking of Oklahoma, I want to ask this. So Caleb Williams starts, was brilliant. Spencer Rattler's a bum. Paladin and all that kind of stuff took OU out of his bio, so he's gone. So it looks like it's Caleb Williams' team. So I have two questions. One, do we believe in Oklahoma now that Caleb Williams is the starter? And two, is there any chance that Caleb Williams, let's just say he balls out for the rest of the year, Heisman?
interesting. I think Heisman would be a bit of a stretch, considering I've always considered the Heisman almost a stats award. You know what I mean? You got to have good numbers. And honestly, if he's missed the first half-ish of the season, what are we at now? Yeah, he's missed the
Yeah,
first half
literally
of
we're
this.
halfway through.
There's no way there's no way his numbers would accumulate enough to put him in that category, if I'm being honest. Um, so I would say no there. And then I don't know. I hate to be lame about it, but I gotta say we gotta wait and see a little more. I gotta see how they look week to week with a new quarterback in. But I definitely think the change was for the better.
Yeah, I agree with you on the Heisman thing. I mean, I guess it depends how crazy he goes, and if nobody else steps up on those top teams, maybe there's a chance. I mean, but I just can't see how you miss the first half of the year and win the Heisman. That's just me. I just don't see it. Um, Now next year he might, but we also said that about Spencer Rattler. By the way, speaking of Spencer Rattler, most overrated quarterback of like all time.
Yeah, I was gonna say when was the last time you saw someone enter the season essentially as the guaranteed everyone said this guy is the first overall pick in the draft for whatever next year
Yeah.
and just falls off the face of the earth and isn't even starting anymore. So
Yeah, that dude sucks. It's terrible. You thought he sucked in the first half of the year last year. It seemed like he got it again in the second half of the year, and everyone's like, "Oh, there's time." No, he's been terrible. So, be interesting to see where he goes. I saw somebody say like UGA a potential landing spot. No, we don't want him. Honestly, I don't want him. But just say hypothetically, I don't think it's going to happen. But if JT left, I still don't want him. I don't
yeah,
want him. Put in Brock. We probably have Stetson again.
we
Honestly,
got Gunner coming in too.
and we got Gunner. So yeah, no thank you, Spencer Rattler. You can go somewhere else. Okay, so this was the biggest news of the week. Coach O's let go. And after a win against Florida, by the way, this is our segment of ha ha ha, where we laugh at Florida. Ha ha ha, you suck. What an embarrassing loss, by the way. Lose to LSU. That was embarrassing. And
Yeah,
and then after that, LSU still fires Coach O. They still say, that means nothing to us. You're still gone. But what we think about Coach O, there's a kind of some talk about, he just won a national championship 2 years ago. We've discussed this on previous episodes, but now that it's finally happened, what are we thinking with that? And maybe who do you think, just a name that pops in your head of like who's the next LSU coach?
yeah, that's a good question. I definitely have mixed feelings about it because, like, I feel like half of me says it was so soon to move off that championship team. But then if you kind of look at that was definitely an outlier season, if you look at their before and afterwards, I don't know, that kind of caught fire in the middle of it. But yeah, I definitely think they I don't know. Half of me says they kind of owed it to him to keep him around a little bit, and then the other half says, I guess, if you're not getting the results you want, especially after that championship season, and then having to ride that whatever it's called, the opposite of a high, ride it back down. That's not fun for anyone. So I guess I agree with their decision, but also I guess I like the way they went about it too. I mean, they're going to
Let
give
him
him till the
finish it
end of the
out.
year. Yeah, they're not just going to can him right now. I mean, he could start taking interviews tomorrow if he wanted. It'll work better for him. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think there's a situation that's like on just kind of the surface of it. You kind of see like the record and everything. You're like, no, it's too soon, like you said. But there's so much stuff that's going on like behind the scenes, like him having like all these different girlfriends and
Yeah,
all this other crap that's going on and all this sus stuff. And that's one, and like you said, the two outlier seasons with Joe Burrow, like just with everything going on behind the scenes, I feel like you got to let him go, just given everything. And I feel like at LSU, especially nowadays, and the recruiting that he's gotten, like you should not be terrible, like at all, to be honest. Um, but I feel like that's a top job in America right now. I
really.
mean, I think SEC, LSU, Louisiana recruits and everything. There's Cincinnati coach Mel Tucker at Michigan State's gotten some hype for that. I saw somewhere Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin,
Yeah.
if he gets
He'd be
fired.
like the CEO of everything and potentially leaves because like, Big Ben will be gone and everything. Maybe. I don't know. Lane Kiffin's a name. I mean, you never know right now. It's usually when it gets towards the end of the season. Maybe Joe Brady. That's a possibility.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. So I feel like I felt like it was a good call. I mean, I would have done the same thing. So next, probably the biggest upset of the year, Iowa loses to Purdue. Not even loses, but gets dominated by Purdue. Frauds or just a bad game? What are we thinking?
That's another good question. I mean, it's college football, you know what I mean? Like the that possibility is always there. I feel like for the kind of big upset. I wouldn't say quite yet that they were just complete frauds because I think, people have bad games. Like Georgia lost to a terrible South Carolina team a couple years ago, and that doesn't mean they're better than Georgia. It's just, we had a bad game. Um, I don't know. I think it's a little of both, I guess. I don't think Iowa was worthy of whatever they were ranked, number 2 or something, either
Mhm.
this week or the week before. But yeah, that's a tough loss and doesn't look very good.
I say frauds. They should have lost against Penn State the week before. I don't know. They're one of those teams that needs turnovers to win, and I don't think they got any against Purdue, or they at least lost it or something like that. They're frauds, to be honest. Um, they might get one more loss. I don't think their schedule's too bad, but they might still get like one more loss before the Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think Minnesota controls their own destiny in that division. I think if they win out, then they're in.
What's their record right now?
Minnesota, oh, I have no idea. They
Yeah.
have to have. They probably only Big Ten losses to Ohio State.
Mm.
I don't know what their overall record is though. So next, probably the biggest news of Saturday is your background.
I'm gonna
Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin go into Knoxville to return, and it went exactly how you would think it would go. Apparently, the refs were pretty bad, and they had a bad missed call at the end, and fans started throwing trash on the field, and then somebody threw a golf ball at Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, someone threw a golf ball as sorry, I'm speaking right now just so our YouTube viewers can see my voice in my background. But yeah, that doesn't look good. That looks real bad actually. I
Are we
can't say I've
surprised?
had pleasant experiences with Tennessee student sections in the past either. So I would hate to say that whatever, I didn't see this coming, but this is low even for them.
Are we surprised?
See, that's what I'm
Honestly,
saying. I don't think I'm surprised. Like I said, when we were in the stands during the Josh Dobbs Hail Mary or whatever, and I
I
remember
wasn't there.
I was in the end zone where it was caught, so I cried. But anyway, I have a distinct memory that will be engraved in my mind forever of their stupid orange and checkered overalls jumping down and tearing our hedges to shreds, and I'll never forgive them for that.
We don't cuss too much on the podcast, but fuck Tennessee. Simple. I hate them so much.
Tennessee
Most
is
toxic fan base in college football.
yes.
I
Tennessee is
saw I
my least
I
favorite
was
team.
saying this like all week, like after this happened, but I saw some Instagram page and showed most toxic and least toxic fan bases in each conference. And for the SEC, it had Kentucky at the least toxic. Basketball doesn't exist. They're toxic as hell. Vanderbilt doesn't exist. But most toxic, they had
Vanderbilt just
Georgia.
doesn't have fans. It's a little different.
Most toxic, they had Georgia. Okay, sure. You have your annoying Georgia fans. I'm not going to pretend like they're not up there. But Tennessee is the worst, and they proved it Saturday. It was literally that week they showed that, and I literally commented. I said Tennessee doesn't exist. No, most toxic fan base of all time. Cheering while Nick Chubb got hurt. Just other crap going on. They're always known as just annoying. They're the worst. They're toxic as hell. This proved it. They're the worst. We hate you, Tennessee. You suck. And we own you. You are the worst. Simple as that. We don't like you.
Great synopsis there. Exactly how I feel as well.
No, they're honestly just the worst. The worst. My most hated fan base. Not my most hated school, but my most hated fan base.
What's worse? What's worse? Just quick poll. We're polling the audience here. What's worse? The checkered overalls or the jorts?
Oh, God.
I have my answer. It's definitely the overalls. I'm sorry.
I might lean toward the jorts because at least with the overalls, it's like for the game. people were George like just to go out.
That's true. That's true.
So I'll give him that. At least there's like some kind of like, passion behind the overalls. They still both suck. So since we're at the halfway point of the season, I wanted to say this. We're doing our segment redemption predictions, where we're going to redeem ourselves on two things. Heisman Trophy. I forget I think we both said Rattler for Heisman. Or
Yeah,
Bryce Young, or one of the two.
throw that one out the window.
Halfway through the season, who you picking now? What's your
For the
prediction?
Heisman?
Yeah, what's your prediction?
Okay, so for the Heisman Trophy, I'd say right now, to me,
Not even right now. What's your prediction? At the end?
my prediction.
Yeah.
I think it'll probably end up being Bryce Young.
Why do you always steal my picks?
I'm sorry. It'll just we didn't talk about it beforehand. It'll either be Bryce Young or it'll be Ritter. And I know that there's a lot of talk right now, okay, among Georgia fans about Jordan Davis winning the Heisman. And I just want to let everyone down right now. That's not going to happen.
He should at least get to New York.
I'm not saying he's not the best player at his position in the country, but he's not going to win the Heisman Trophy. That doesn't mean he's bad. That doesn't mean he's not the best player in the country. He's not winning the Heisman. It's a stats award. And to be honest, when you're out of the game in the second and third quarter anyway, you're not going to be able to do it. He'd have to get 20 sacks or something to win the Heisman.
I agree. The what was the last DN that was there, and at least in New York, was Sue. Yeah, so I think he should at least make New York if he keeps it up, but there's just not enough clout with being a defensive tackle, especially nowadays. Bryce Young will probably figure it out. There's Matt Corral, Ritter, just to name a few. And there could be someone who pops out of the scene that's kind of like November's when you start, solidifying being the Heisman winner and everything. What about Bijan Robinson, the guy from running back for Texas? He should be up there too. He's been great. His team just kind of sucks though. But if I had to agree. I'll stick with Bryce Young here. Pretty bold, I know, but we're going with that. He's still got some big games left. I think Arkansas and Auburn SEC championship, assuming they make it there. So next one, redemption predictions on the playoffs.
Redemption on
What's the prediction?
Okay.
No order. It doesn't have to be like a ranking. Just the 4 teams that will get there.
Okay, the 4 teams. Let's see. I'm looking at my list. I think Georgia's in, and I think Cincy's in.
Yes.
Because I don't know. The thing with Georgia is even if we end up dropping one, we're still in right now, if you ask me. So I feel pretty confident saying Georgia's a lock unless something just terrible happens. We'd have to drop 2. We'd have to drop a terrible one in the regular season and then lose to Bama.
Yeah.
I want to talk about it. I think Cincy's in. I think the rest of their schedule doesn't look that bad. They're rolling right now. And I think, honestly, they're one of those teams where if they even drop one, I kind of feel like you could argue for them to get in as well. So I like their chances. For my third team, I think I'm going to go Ohio State. Not necessarily saying they'll be 3 or whatever. I think Ohio State will end up with that one loss to who was it? Oregon being their only loss. I think that's very plausible, even though they have Michigan and Sparty, I guess, who are both undefeated now that I'm looking at them. I still think it'll be Ohio State. And then who's the last team? That's rough. I mean, I feel like if you would have asked me this last weekend, I would have said Iowa. But it's tough to pick Iowa now because of that loss. I don't know. It's tough to pick Oregon, even if they have one loss. That loss was to Stanford, so it doesn't look great. I don't know. I can't pick Bama because I got to assume Georgia's going to beat Bama. But honestly, I could see them just screwing everyone over and putting 2-loss Bama in.
Imagine.
Jeez, I don't want to imagine. I don't know, man. It's a toss-up between a million other teams.
Boomer.
Ooh.
Boomer Sooner.
Now that I'm looking at it, thinking about what about Ole Miss?
3 or 2 SEC teams in, and it would not be Bama.
See, but I mean,
I
if
think Ole
Ole
Miss
Miss
has
only
got to
has
win out
one
and need
loss,
another Bama loss to get in the SEC championship at least.
oh yeah, well that loss could be to us. That's my final pick.
All
It
right,
might be a terrible pick.
I'm gonna go with Georgia. I agree with what you said. They can afford to drop one. Um, just just like my take from the beginning of the year, I'm not gonna put too much hype in Georgia, so I'm gonna say they lose to Bama SEC championship. So Bama's in. I'm sticking with my Cincy pick. Undefeated, they're in. I disagree. If they have one loss, they're done. But I don't think they're gonna lose, so they're in. So that literally puts me between Oklahoma and Ohio State. Oklahoma's undefeated right now. Ohio State has that one loss. Ohio State's looking pretty scary. I'm not
I
gonna lie.
agree. I think Ohio
So,
State looks good, even though they
yeah,
lost.
they're starting to look good. So my prediction of them losing a random, even if they did or they didn't lose a random game, I'm gonna say Oklahoma. The Texas game might have been a turning point. But if both have one loss, then I'll put Ohio State in. But I'm gonna assume Oklahoma wins out. They'll beat Oklahoma State. They'll kill everybody else. So I'll say Boomer Sooner. Um, they'll be in. So those are my four teams. I think that's pretty solid playoff.
I agree.
Get that group of five. You don't have you got Bama in there. You got Georgia. I think that's pretty good. All right, so let's move on to predictions. So we don't have too many predictions to make because we want to go through this pretty fast. There's not too many crazy games out there. So let's start off with the third Saturday of October. Bama, Tennessee. When was the last time Tennessee beat Bama? I can't even tell you. But any shot, any shot.
Literally none. And I don't think we have to elaborate.
I agree. They're gonna kill them, and I hope they do.
Me too.
Okay. So speaking of Oklahoma State, they're gonna have to go at Iowa State. Is Oklahoma State gonna keep it going?
That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like Iowa State hasn't looked great these past couple weeks, even though they came in, so highly touted. So, I mean, I'd probably pick Oklahoma State here.
I'm gonna go with Iowa State. Um, like I said, it's the game where I kind of want to see if Oklahoma State's like, I wouldn't want to say for real, but can challenge Oklahoma at least for the Big 12 championship. Um, but I'm gonna go with Iowa State on the road. Iowa State still got some talent. That'll be a big game for them. So I think they'll get the dub there. So how about a big Pac-12 game? Oregon at UCLA.
This one I could see being a little closer. I feel like Oregon's been struggling when they go down south, right? Is that the trend?
Yeah,
Um,
they usually drop like one to the south, I think.
I was gonna say when they go to the Southern California. Anyway, um, that one's tough.
College
I
game
feel
day is
like,
going to be there, by the way.
yeah, I kind of feel like I think Oregon will come through. I think that might be one of those games where UCLA might go up early or something, starts to look scary, and then I don't know. I feel like they'll find a way to choke it away.
Look at us disagreeing. I'm going 8 claps. UCLA. Their quarterback, Oregon's quarterback sucks, to be honest. And Verdell, their running back's out for the season, I think. So I think UCLA gets the dub here. But I think it'll be close. I think it's basically a toss-up, to be honest. But I'm going with the home team. I'm going with UCLA. Now, here's an interesting one. Big ACC implications. Clemson versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's favored. -3.
Wow. That's kind of hard to believe if I'm being honest.
Isn't that crazy? Who would have called that?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, now that I'm looking about them, Pitt's 5-1. Who did they lose to? Let's see. Sorry, let me find it. Okay. So their only loss. Oh, they have a win over Tennessee too. Interesting. Their only loss was 44-41. So they barely lost to Western Michigan, who's a solid program. Honestly, you know what? If you wouldn't have told me that Pitt was favored, I feel like I would have said Clemson. But now that I looked a little farther into it, they look like a solid team. I haven't seen them play, obviously, for anyone listening, because I would know what I was talking about. But I'll pick Pitt here.
Oh, okay. This one's another one where it's like I feel like you look at it and you're like Pittsburgh's favored over Clemson. That's gonna be that game where like Clemson, go get the dub, right? You would
I
think,
mean, yeah, they could
right?
just, they might flip the switch and prove, they're still Clemson. Like they still got guys.
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
might in that game where like, Pittsburgh's kind of riding high and it's just like it's one of those things where it's like obvious, but it's not obvious. But maybe that's what they want you to think. You think, oh, Clemson's gonna get the dub because this is like such a weird thing, but then Pittsburgh gets the dub. I'll go with Clemson. I'll trust the talent, but I'm not happy about it.
yeah, I agree.
All right. How about a rivalry here? USC going to Notre Dame. What are we thinking?
That's a good question. How many losses does Notre Dame have?
They have how many do they have? They got
They're,
one or two.
I was gonna say they're not on my top 25 right now.
They have one. Yeah. Lost to Cincinnati. That's it.
Yeah, I feel like my gut says Notre Dame. I haven't watched enough USC to know anything about them really, but
Well, here you go. They suck.
well, I feel like that's what my gut was thinking. So
All right.
I'll pick Notre Dame.
Here we go. The surprise of the pod. No. Jordan Stein's lock of the week is back. It's back, baby. We're bringing it back. Notre Dame -6.5. Jordan Stein's lock of the week. Hit up bet boss. It's happening. Notre Dame getting the dub and covering. Let's go.
Yeah. I love the lock of the week.
Let's go. We're bringing it back. Now, if this one doesn't happen, it's never coming back. It's the last chance. All right. Last game. Ole Miss, LSU. Is LSU going to fight for Coach O, or do they just remain terrible?
I kind of think they're going to remain terrible. If you ask me, I think maybe
game of the week.
Do what?
If the CBS game of the week.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think it has potential. I mean, I feel like just about every Ole Miss game, is kind of there's always back and forth. They're always, I don't want to say shootouts necessarily, but a lot of them are like, so I could see it being an entertaining game. I still think Ole Miss pulls this one off.
Yeah, Ole Miss is -9. I agree. I think it'll be a good game, but I think Ole Miss gets dubbed. LSU will fight, but yeah, hotty toddy on that one. All right, so that's it for college. So now you take it away with the National Football League.
Alrighty. So if you guys made it this far, as you know, when we get about this point, I like to talk about a couple of the games that I picked out specifically. Some of them revolving around narratives, and I guess storylines, or maybe just a game that I really feel like talking about from last week. So this week I picked out 5 that I would like to go over today. The first one being the Jags getting their first win, breaking the 20 game losing streak or something like that. That's pitiful. But the Jags finally getting their first win, Trevor Lawrence first win, Urban Meyer's first win over the Dolphins. What do you think?
Not gonna lie, I did not watch a second of this game. Dolphins and Jaguars in London at 9 a.m. If you watch this game, I'll give you props. You love the NFL. I just don't love the NFL that much. So did not watch a second of it. I did see something interesting though. So after the game, somebody was given the game ball. It was not Urban Meyer, but somebody was. And they're like, for their first win in the National Football League, the game ball goes to Trevor Lawrence. And I'm like, ooh, poor Urban on that one. Not really.
I feel like the game ball should always go to a player. So I don't think that's too outrageous.
I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. How Urban Meyer didn't give the game ball was just some player. I don't know who it was. Or I can't remember, but I thought that was interesting. That's literally all I gotta say about the game.
Yeah, I didn't watch a lot of this. I did see the Jags kicker who is not their starting kicker. I think their starting kicker got hurt or something. They had another dude in, and yeah, he kicked two like clutch field goals. Because admittedly, I didn't watch the whole game, but I do love the NFL, so had to tune into this one after I woke up, obviously. Um, but what was I gonna say? Yeah, the Jags kicker. They were saying that he kicked like a 54-yard field goal, I think, to to tie it, and then had another drive where he kicked like the next drive he kicked like a 53, and they were saying that he had never kicked one that far in the NFL, and he went back to back two clutch kicks at the very end of the game to get those final 6 points, put them ahead by 3, and they won. It was cool.
I do want to touch on this. Dolphins, I've been seeing around that trying to get Deshaun Watson might happen this week, might happen soon. Interesting.
It is interesting. I feel like the Tua, I don't know. I feel like they've almost the Tua experiment. It wasn't really an experiment, but I think the Tua thing's over. You gotta
Yeah.
it might be
If you
time
can get Deshaun Watson, go get him.
I mean, he didn't play that badly, but obviously he's playing the Jags, so and coming off injury. So he definitely looks better than he did last year, but you know, he's not gonna win you a Super Bowl. It's just that is what it is. So if that's your goal, then it should be everyone's goal. Then make some moves. That's about all I have to say about that one. Let's see. The next game I wanted to talk about was a game that the results were very surprising for me. It was the Ravens blowing out the Chargers.
Oh yeah, they killed them.
What was up with that?
I have no idea, to be honest. I watched some of the game with David. Ravens just could do whatever they wanted running the ball. Lamar didn't even play that great, to be honest. He threw 2 picks, and then the Chargers offense just couldn't do nothing. It seemed like fourth downs that they were getting in their own territory, that they got in the weeks past. They weren't getting in this game. It was just a total domination. Justin Herbert didn't do nothing. Didn't even get the 200 yards passing. It looks like they couldn't run the ball. Their leading rusher with Justin Herbert with 12 yards.
Yeah.
So just Ravens are looking good, man. They're hot after that bad loss to the Raiders. But
I was going to say they dropped. That was like the opening game of the season, or was that the opening Monday night? Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. And Ravens looked sus when they kind of they dropped that one to the Raiders. But since then they've just been rolling.
Yeah,
I think
I'm starting to think the Chargers aren't good against running teams, because even the Browns, like
they were saying during the whole thing that the Chargers had like the worst run defense in the NFL.
It's looking like it. Because the Browns ran all over them, and looking like the Ravens did too.
They're kind of getting slashed. But anyway, yeah, I thought the results of that game were a little surprising. I mean, I think the Chargers being what they were 4-1.
Yeah, the battle of 4-1 teams. That was going to be that was probably.
I was going to say, like, if you would ask me, that would have been probably either that one or another one I'm going to talk about. I would probably put as my like game of the weekend, and then it kind of didn't live up to that. It kind of left me disappointed. It didn't live up to the hype there.
Yeah.
Yeah, not really sure what went wrong there. It's not my job to speculate on it, but I guess we can move on. The next game I wanted to talk about was Packers-Bears, especially for one particular moment. Aaron Rodgers scores a touchdown, and he finds the most creative way to get around the taunting penalty. You don't taunt players.
You taunt the paying fans, the people that pay for your salary, pay the NFL. You can taunt them as much as you want, but God forbid you taunt your competition.
Where, for those of you who are not aware, Aaron Rodgers essentially was, I guess, caught on video and audio. Not even caught. It's not like he was trying to hide it, but he just yelled to all the Bears fans, "I own you," or "I still own you," or something like that.
It was awesome.
And honestly, he's right. So
he saw some like old lady give him the double bird, and it just set him off. So he's basically screaming at some old grandma.
That's hilarious. But I mean, it's true though. Other than that,
Oh yeah, no,
I
he's
didn't
like
see
21-5 over there or something crazy, like at their stadium. No, yeah,
that's crazy.
and talk
Yeah,
about the
other than
Packers
that,
too.
I'm
Someone that
not
was
gonna
looking
lie.
sus.
Do what?
Talk about the Packers too. Someone that looked sus too in week 1. They got killed by the Saints, and now they're looking great too. They're five
Hey,
and one.
I said that on the pod too.
Good. You said
I was like,
relax.
I was gonna say, I was like, everyone, you guys can go back and look at it. I definitely said the Packers will be just fine, and
Good.
they will still win that whole division easily,
Yeah.
which they will. So, or sorry, not the whatever, not like all NFC they could, but I think they'll. I mean, they'll be the top seed in their whatever their division NFC.
hmm
Other than that, yeah, I didn't really
It was a
watch,
close. It was a competitive game. Justin looked pretty well. Did pretty well.
especially in the beginning. I was gonna say I feel like it started a little closer. I think the Bears got a couple sacks early. Um, Justin had that really good throw or whatever. Maybe it was a really good catch by Allen Robinson on the sideline.
hmm
And that's about all I can tell you about that game. The rest of it was kind of meh.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next game. So this was the other game I was kind of teasing where if I just looked at the slate, I'd probably say that this could be, potentially the game of the weekend. But the Cardinals and the Browns. Cardinals are red hot right now. Browns are obviously just stacked. And then I guess Nick Chubb was not playing, and he's not playing again this week.
Kareem Hunt got hurt. Baker's not playing tonight.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Cardinals are just for real. Like I
I
said, when
agree.
we were talking earlier in the season, it was kind of like I was asking about teams' butts, not their like butt, but I'm like, what's the thing holding them back? And the thing for the Cardinals was just always like the division they play in. But other than that, this team doesn't have a weakness that I see. I mean, you
Mm.
could say maybe offensive line or something, or honestly, maybe that they're like a little old because they got JJ Watt and
Yeah.
Chandler Jones and AJ Green, and I'm like, those guys have a couple seasons
That's the
left.
veterans, baby.
Exactly, but
The
I'm still,
leaders.
obviously that's not sustainable, but I mean, like that's good right now. But yeah, I don't know. Cardinals are for real. They're making it work. I don't
Yeah,
know
they're
about the
looking great.
Browns. Got the injury bug bad. I saw that Chubb is obviously out. Kareem Hunt is out. What's
Baker.
his name? Their second round pick, Owusu Kormo is out.
hmm Baker
Baker's
too.
out. Like, geez, they're I don't know what's going on, but it's kind of falling apart right
That's the
now.
curse of the Browns, I guess.
Yeah, it'll always come back and get them. And then let's see. The last game I wanted to talk about was Monday Night Football, Titans and Bills. Another interesting one.
Yes.
I can't tell if the Titans are good. I really can't. They
I don't
they
know.
lost to the Jets,
They're
and
4-2.
then you beat the Bills. I'm so confused. I don't know if they're good. I really don't. I guess
I
it
know
is the.
Derrick Henry's good.
Oh well, I also wanted to talk about that, but obviously it is the NFL. Any given Sunday, it's I don't know. It's a lot more even, I guess, than college football. These teams than you would think, but it's crazy. I don't know if they're good or not. What I will say is Derrick Henry. I have a lot to say about Derrick Henry. This man has received a lot of hate, I feel like. He's received a lot of hate, and it's because people are like, well, he's just big and fast. He doesn't have any skill. He just runs straight. But I'm like, okay, this guy.
Not a big part of the sport being big and fast.
Exactly, but I mean, I don't know. This guy has put up ridiculous results, right, for at least 3 years now.
hmm
So not only is it consistently at the best or at the very top of the league, but it's just consistent over time. Like he just keeps doing it. He's done it
And
under
all-time seasons too.
he's done it with different O lines. He's done it at this point with different quarterbacks, and he's done it in multiple offensive schemes, and he still produces. It's just wild. It's kind of like there's another argument where people say Tyreek Hill is not good. He's just fast. I can't stand that. Tyreek Hill is one
It's
of the
not like
best.
he just runs a streak every single time.
I don't care.
Yeah,
Tyreek Hill
that's
is
what I'm
one of
saying.
the
It's not
best
like he just
receivers.
does that.
I was gonna say Tyreek Hill is one of the best receivers in the league. The same way Derrick Henry is the best running back in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't think that's up for
I don't
debate
even
right now.
question it. I mean, he's so good and he stays good. And the best part, dude gets 30 carries a game in the NFL and has like I don't think he's ever been injured. Have you ever seen Derrick Henry get injured?
I don't think he has been.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he's the perfect running back.
Yeah,
He's just
no,
fun.
he's a monster. I guess the only thing is that he can't catch as well. But a few weeks ago against Seattle, he had like 8 catches.
I was about to say
So
it's
he's
not like he
capable of
can't
it.
catch. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. He's a monster. He's on my fantasy team last year during 2K season. He's insane. He's just one of those guys, like, you have those guys on your fantasy team that you just love because you just love watching them. Derrick Henry is one of those guys.
Yeah.
But I do want to say this about the Bills game. I don't hate the call of going for it. I would have done the same thing on that 4th and 1. I just hate how Josh Allen was in the shotgun and then walked up and then snuck it. Yeah, he slipped, but still. That was so obvious that was going to happen. Just get in the I formation or whatever. Just get under center and sneak it. Just do it. Like, don't try to finesse and all. We all knew what you were going to do. You have Josh Allen, one of the biggest quarterback in the league, or one of.
And toughest.
Like, we all know you're going to sneak it. So why are you trying to finesse? Just do it.
I agree. But sorry, kind of 180ing, or not 180ing, but going back a little bit I want to talk about Derrick Henry, possible Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I don't think that's up for debate.
Really?
Yeah, the 2,000-yard season. That alone.
No, I know, but he might do it again this year. People are saying
very well could.
He could break the record. They have an extra.
No, I don't think that's a debate, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree. And the other thing with Derrick Henry that I didn't even talk about was, I mean, obviously people have been seeing at least like on Twitter and stuff, the like screenshots of his high school stats, which are disgusting, by the way. Don't look at them. They will make you sad. In a good way, though. He was phenomenal. I mean, he's a Heisman Trophy winner, right? Mm-hmm. Dominated in college.
Yeah, dominating the best of all time. I mean, former Georgia commit.
This guy that doesn't get us anything. This guy is truly, though, a generational talent. People talk about generational talent. Derrick Henry is generational talent. I don't know. Yeah. Derrick Henry, Hall of Famer, best running back in the NFL right now. Yeah. Doesn't matter if he's not super shifty. Doesn't matter if you think he's just big.
He'll just throw you off of him.
Great. Yeah, I don't care. It works.
I agree.
And it works better than anyone. He's
getting the basketball. It's like Giannis. People say he has no skill. He doesn't need that much skill, to be honest. He's
exactly.
Huge, so I always think that's kind of a stupid take.
The other thing with Derrick Henry is that, like, he's getting the ball like every play.
Yeah, exactly.
And you still can't stop it.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets better as the game goes, I feel like, because the teams get tired. They don't want to tackle him anymore. And then once you go to the third, fourth quarter against Derrick Henry, you're like, are you kidding me? Like, we still have to stop this guy every single play. And then he pops 2 more touchdowns. And he's sneaky fast.
He is. Like that one run he ran up the middle and the 2 safeties
they said that was the top speed clocked in the NFL this year. And dude's like 6'3", 250 or something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's insane.
Well, that's all I have for NFL talk.
All right. I do want to say that Cowboys-Patriots game was crazy too.
Yeah,
But that's 2 teams that like everyone hates, and nobody wants to talk about.
I was about to say I just didn't feel like talking about them. So
I'm just gonna give them a little shout out though. All right, so I think that's the end of the pod.
All right.
Follow us on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, links below. You already know. If you made it to this point, comment. I found this dollar bill here. Comment broke boy, because I only have $1.
Ooh.
Broke boy if you made it to this point. Boy with an I, not a Y. Shout out to Playboy Cardi on that one.
And if you made it this far, 10 seconds past what Jordan said, if you made it this far, comment golf ball if you would throw a golf ball at Lane Kiffin. And if you wouldn't,
comment that. Would you have done it? if you were in that
Yeah,
crowd.
show yourself.
Yeah.
If you have thrown a golf ball at Lane Kiffin, please
Come on the
comment your
pod.
name.
I'd love to hear your perspective if that was
Actually,
you.
yeah, you'll be the only Tennessee fan I will ever talk to.
And we'll cook you the whole time. But other than that, yeah.
Should
All
be a
right.
welcoming experience. All right. Bye, guys.
All right. Peace out.